Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. This is the High IQ Club. So if you are listening, congratulations. You are definitely of high IQ. So this will be a continuation of the theory that Dr. Bill gets killed or sacrificed in Eyes Wide Shut. Today I'm going to share with you the original script. And this was the original script and screenplay. And before I start the show, guys, I really want to give a shout out to Warlight52, who has shared the script on one of my videos, and I pinned it. So have a look if you can. And this goes to show that everyone in this channel are very much high IQ. You guys are on the ball. I have been responding to a lot of people today, and I am pleasantly surprised how intelligent and high IQ you guys are. Even I'm learning from you guys, and I have extensively studied this movie. I'm picking up new things I didn't even know before from you guys. So I really want to appreciate you guys. My follow account has really jumped up over the past few days, and it's all about quality, not quantity, guys. I mean, there are Reddit channels with 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. If I post anything on there, literally, I get a lot of low IQ replies. It's just not worth my time. But I get a lot of high quality, high IQ stuff from you guys. And this is the right, you know, club to be. This is the right environment. Where all like-minded, high IQ people who know their stuff can talk and interact with each other, learn from each other. And this is what it's all about. So I'm really glad I've opened up this channel. I haven't been on for long, guys. You know, I'm surprised how fast my subscriber count has gone up. I didn't think it would do that well, to be honest. I really appreciate you guys, and all I can say is keep it coming. I am checking all my comments, and I am learning a lot from you guys, and I hope my videos are interesting and enlightening for you guys as well. So let's move on. Let's carry on with the show. So I managed to get hold of the original script. So I got this from the internet. So I managed to download the whole script. And this is the bit in the movie which is probably the missing puzzle of the whole film. This is what we've been missing. You know, I initially thought that maybe there was things cut from the mansion party and, but I think that most of the cutting was done from this particular scene, and it's a very powerful scene, as you know. We only get a glimpse of this particular scene, and it's probably the most important scene of the whole movie. It's very important because, we see Alice sleeping and laughing in her sleep, and Bill wakes her up, and she's laughing and laughing. She's quite hysterical. And this scene gets very, very dark. And I can understand why they cut this off. Because if they left this in there, you know, this movie would go way, way too dark. And I don't think the censors would be too happy with it. Plus, I don't think a particular group of people, I'm talking about the elites here, I don't think they would be too happy about it either. Because it really gives away too much about what they do and how evil they are and things like that. And it also gives away a huge secret to the movie. It also gives away the fact that Dr. Bill gets sacrificed. So what do we know? We know that Dr. Bill goes to the mansion party and he makes a promise. The promise is, do not tell anybody about what's happened, otherwise there would be dire consequences for you and your family. That was the warning by Red Cloak. So what does he do? He goes and confesses everything to his wife. And Red Cloak said not to say it to anybody, including his wife. And the dire consequences for his family is the fact that he loses his daughter to be trafficked by the cult, by the elites. So that's the dire consequences for his family. But remember the words of Red Cloak. He says, there will be dire consequences for you and your family. So it's not just his family that is going to have the consequences, it's also Dr. Bill. And I think Dr. Bill gets sacrificed. If you want to see the first part of this show, make sure you check out my earlier video where I talk about Dr. Bill being sacrificed and why, and all the evidence. So make sure you check that one out. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go through the script. I'm not going to read it word to word. I'm just going to, I memorized most of it, so I'm just going to summarize certain bits, important bits. So we start with this section. I hope you loved me too, said Bill. So we are going into Alice's dream world. And everything seemed fine at this point with Alice. Alice and Bill were together, and as you can see, Alice was having a dream and they were making love, as stated in the script. So everything seemed fine and happy and dandy. Then they said that suddenly in the morning, and we were somewhere in a strange city, we were still completely alone. It could be New York, guys. New York is a very, very strange city, and sometimes people say New York is the loneliest city in the world. You can live next to your neighbor and you'll never ever get to know your neighbor. That's how lonely New York can get. So they could be talking about New York here. But something terrible had happened. Our clothes were gone. I was terrified, like I've never been before, and felt such a burning shame that almost consumed me. At the same time, I was furious with you because I thought it was your fault. And this sensation of terror, shame, and fury was intense, more than my emotions I have ever felt before. You felt guilty and rushed away naked to go to get clothes for us. As soon as you were gone, I felt wonderful. I neither felt sorry for you or worried about you. It was heavenly to be alone. I was lying in a lush garden, stretched out naked in the sunlight, but I was far from beautiful than I was ever in reality. And while I was laying there, a young man walked in front of the woods. He was a young naval officer I told you about from the hotel. He looked different, but I knew it was him. He stopped in front of me and looked at me searchingly. I laughed seductively and wantonly, as I have never laughed in my life. He had held out his arms to me and sank down beside me. So just to make it clear, guys, this bit is in the film, so this bit has not been cut. If you watch the movie, this is it is in the movie. But I just wanted to kind of let you know where things are, because this was the beginning of this particular scene, and you can see Tom Cruise, the way he's perched on the bed. He's in deep pain at this moment. He doesn't know what is reality and whether it's a dream, because it really should be a dream, right? It shouldn't really matter. If it's a dream, it's a dream. You shouldn't really be upset, or it shouldn't really affect you that much. But look at Tom. It really is affecting him. He doesn't know whether she's telling the truth or whether it's a dream or whether he's having a nightmare. He just, it's a very, very strange expression to have. Or maybe he's still upset from the other night, and he's still soul searching. He doesn't know who his wife is anymore. Maybe it's that. However, this is the third time we hear about the naval officer. 3 times. Twice Alice mentions him. Once, obviously, when they have the argument in the beginning of the movie, and now, and also we see the naval officer making love to Alice as well in the middle of the movie. So 3 times. So let's move on. So we'll continue from the bit when Bill says, "That's a strange dream, but that's not the end, is it?" I'm sure you guys remember that scene from the movie, so we'll continue from there. Alice doesn't reply, and Bill says, "Was that the end?" Alice says no. Bill says, "Then why don't you tell me the rest of it?" Alice says, "It's not easy. Some things are not easy to say." Bill said, "It's only a dream." Alice sighs and continues hesitantly. She says, "He looked at me and slowly took me in his arms. We began making love. I seemed to live through countless days and nights. There was neither time nor the space. And the more we made love, the more our hunger for each other increased. And just as that earlier feeling of terror and shame went beyond anything I have ever felt. So nothing can be compared with the freedom and happiness and the desire that I now felt. Then I realized there are other couples around us, hundreds of them. They too were making love. Then I was making love to other men. As soon as my longing was satisfied with one, I wanted another. I can't say how many men I was with, and yet I didn't for one moment forget you. And all this time, you were buying the most beautiful clothes and jewelry you can find for me. Then you were being followed by a crowd of people who were shouting threats. Then you were seized by soldiers, and there were priests amongst them. Somebody, a gigantic person, tied your hands. You were still naked. I knew you were going to be crucified, but I felt no sympathy for you. I still blamed you for everything that has happened." Did you see that, guys? As you can see, I put the face of Tom Cruise. He does not look happy. He looks absolutely distraught. Almost like his soul has been ripped apart. These dreams are not just dreams, and Tom knows that. So let's decipher what she has said. She has said that they managed to grab hold of Tom, priests and soldiers, and he was naked. So what does that remind you of? Do you remember the mansion party when Red Cloak asks Dr. Bill to take off his clothes? Do you remember that scene? Well, I'm sure that came flooding back when she said that to Dr. Bill here. So he's not sure at this moment whether she's having a dream or whether all of this was some sort of warning or something that would happen in the future. There's other moments here as well. She says that You were buying the most beautiful clothes and jewelry you can find for me. It just shows that he's a provider. You know, while she is making love with other men, you know, she's obviously making love to the naval officer and hundreds of other men. He was busy buying clothes, buying jewelry for her. He was being the ultimate simp. And that really must have hurt his ego. Really. I mean, that would destroy any man. And there's other things here as well. He says, I knew you were going to be crucified, but I felt no sympathy for you. I still blamed you for everything that's happened. So you can see he was about to be crucified in the dream. I really think this happens to him in the future. I think this is what Dr. Bill's fate is. And she's not just having a dream, she knows what happens in these parties. She knows because she is part of the cult. She knows exactly what Dr. Bill's fate is. And the fact that she mentioned you were going to be crucified, this was obviously cut out from here, from this particular dialogue. And it's very dark. It's very dark, guys. And I can understand why they cut it off. Because if they left it in there, everybody would have put two and two together. And everybody would have said, yeah, Dr. Bill's definitely dead or he's going to get killed. There's other bits here as well. She says, I felt no sympathy for you. I still blamed you for everything that's happened. So she obviously still blames Dr. Bill for everything that's happened. And do you remember my last video when I mentioned that she does a lot of projection? You know, she never looks at herself. She blames others for her wrongdoings. So if she's cheated on Dr. Bill, she would accuse Dr. Bill of cheating. So here she's projecting things on him as well. You know, it's all his fault, basically, in that they are in this situation. She probably blames him for, you know, walking into the mansion party, getting initiated, you know, everything that he's done in the movie. She would probably blame him for it. And she says that I felt no sympathy for you. And that's understandable because she does not look like somebody who has any empathy. I believe she has no soul. I think she, you know, she has gone through years of SRA and there's lots of trauma in there. And for people that have gone through a lot of trauma like she has, there really isn't much soul in there. There really isn't much space for love. And there isn't space for empathy. These are soulless people wandering around because of their past trauma and all the years of SRA that they've gone through. But there's more, guys. It doesn't end there. And this part is definitely not in the movie. And I do believe they have shot this, and I do believe they have cut it because it's in the script, it's in the screenplay. And we know that the cinematographer has also said there's lots of, you know, shots that he took with Stanley Kubrick, which were not in the final film. So let's continue. I felt that I was far removed from you, but I knew you could see me naked in the arms of countless men in this sea of nakedness which formed around me. The soldiers began to whip you, and blood flowed down you in streams. I saw it without feeling any surprise or pity. Then you smiled at me, as if to show you had fulfilled my wish and bought me everything I wanted. But I thought your actions were ridiculous, and I wanted to make fun of you, to laugh in your face. They began to nail you to the cross, and I hoped that you would be able to hear my laughter. So I laughed, as shrill and as loud as I could. That must have been the laugh that you heard when I woke up. Neither of them moves or says anything. Any remark at this moment would seem futile. So you see, guys, how dark this conversation gets. I really wished they kept this in the movie, don't you think? It would have made the movie so much better, and it would have given us so many answers. Just this dialogue itself, it would have fixed so many holes in the movie. It's a final jigsaw piece that fits everything together. As you see, guys, when I watched this in the cinema, in my first showing, I really did not think much of this movie. I thought maybe this movie was probably the worst Stanley Kubrick film I've ever seen, because I was a major fan of The Shining, 2001, Full Metal Jacket. You know, I love these movies, and I was quite disappointed when I came out of the cinema. And I thought the cinema had a happy ending. You know, at the end of the movie, when they were in the toy shop, and Tom Cruise says to Alice, or Dr. Bill says to Alice, "What do we do now?" And Alice says, "We need to F-U-C-K." And the film ended suddenly. You know, I didn't notice they gave their daughter away, because it's one of those things you don't notice in the first viewing. And then after repeated viewing, I realized they were actually giving their daughter away. Then some people started talking about it on YouTube, and it all started making sense. Then you know, when I used to post these theories on Facebook and back in, 2000, Twitter and stuff like that, I got banned from Facebook. And every time I try and talk about it on Reddit, I used to get banned on Reddit as well, years later. People just didn't like to talk about, the fact that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman gave away their daughter to be trafficked. People just didn't want to hear it. People just laughed in my face. That was 2005, 2006, 2007. Now it's common knowledge. Everyone knows that, because there's so many videos and theories out there. People are well clued. But back then it was a taboo subject. Even if you mention it, people just laugh at you, thinking, "Oh, look at this conspiracy theorist." But I'm telling you guys, this is not a conspiracy theory. Dr. Bill actually gets killed and sacrificed in this movie. And this is the final jigsaw puzzle which puts it all together. What a fitting end to a perfect movie. Because this is the journey of Dr. Bill, who has a soul, who is pretty much innocent to the world. His eyes are wide shut. He doesn't know what's really out there. He's got his soul intact, and he goes on a journey. And by the end of his journey, he loses his soul, he loses his daughter, and eventually he loses his life. That's the price he had to pay. What a dark yet amazing story. And it really is the best film I have ever seen in my life. It is Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece. Stanley Kubrick said himself that's his masterpiece. He spent so many years making it. So I hope all that makes sense to you guys. I'll end it here, and I'll see you high IQ people on the comment section. Take care for now. Bye bye.